Good evening and welcome to our informational parent meeting for the Mountain Lion Junior Midget Football Team 2015. My name is Jesse Craig. I have coached Pop Warner football. This will be my fourth year upcoming. I'm joined this evening by Brad Benson, who is my defensive coordinator and I coached with last year. His son Connor plays on the team. My son David plays on the team. A little bit about myself, just so you have some background on me. My wife, Casey, I have three kids, David, Addison, and Andrew, and my oldest, David, who is currently a seventh grader at Powell, will be playing on this football team. I'm the science department chair here at Arapahoe High School, and I have been for 17 years, and I love Arapahoe High School. In fact, I know quite a few of you will be attending Arapahoe High School, and I'm excited about that. I don't plan on teaching anywhere else. I really love this place and have been immersed in this community for all 17 years. I coordinate the Fellowship of Christian Athletes at Arapahoe as well and have done that for 13 years alongside a fellow teacher in the science department, Brian Haytack. We have led this group and have been on mission trips to San Diego for the last 6 years with a group of kids from here that have served the poor and the homeless, and we absolutely love doing the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and again, we're going to continue to do that for years to come. I coach the varsity quarterbacks here at Arapahoe for 14 years, and we'll eventually be going back to coaching here at Arapahoe, and so I'm looking forward to those of you that are going to be playing football here at Arapahoe that I get to coach you for quite some time. I played quarterback at Hastings College in Nebraska, and just a little background on that. Hastings College, small liberal arts school in Nebraska, about an hour and a half west of Lincoln. The thing that I loved about playing football there, I was playing NAIA football, but we were in the top 20 every single year that I was there. I was coached by two different Division I coaches while at Hastings. Unfortunately, both those guys just got fired with the Nebraska coaching staff, but I'm sure will be settling on their feet. In fact, Coach Cotton is now going to be the offensive coordinator at UNLV. And so that's a little bit about myself. I want to spend a little bit of time talking philosophy with you and what I feel is important in coaching young men. And I do say that I know these kids are 7th and 8th graders, but we're looking at them as young men, and we want to portray the best possible character to these young men that we possibly can. And so my motto, and this has always been my motto, is big team, little me. I got this from my head coach in high school, Rick Sierra in Pleasanton, California. He had these printed on our practice jerseys, and it's always stuck with me, and I use this in a lot of talks that I give, not only with my Fellowship of Christian Athletes, but in my classroom as well. That it's so important to have a team, obviously, that all works together. And so when we look at the kids that are in this room right here, the players that are sitting before me, we are going to be a large team. 20 to 22 players, there's 11 players on the field at any given moment. And what's important is that you understand, that each one of you understand that you're just little components of that big team. And so that big team, little me concept, I have used in my teaching every single week that I've coached the game of football. I believe it is the most important thing that we can talk about. And I'm going to teach to that every single day that I coach you guys. That we are a large team and everybody's an individual component. And the game of football is tough with 11 guys out on the field. You have to have 11 guys going in the correct direction at all times. We've taught you what to do on power. We've got to have all 11 guys blocking power correctly and running power correctly. That's that little me concept. It's not about the quarterback getting to throw touchdowns. It's not about the really good wide receiver catching passes. It's about all 11 football players, including the ones that are on the sideline, helping us perform that play, helping us throughout the week get ready to play that football game. And I use this video quite often. the Hoyt family. I don't know if you're familiar with them at all, but if I want to talk about little me, this is probably the best example that I can give you. Dick Hoyt, who is Rick's dad. When Rick was born, Rick was deprived of oxygen at birth and had some defects that allowed him or did not allow him to talk. And so I believe it, in the video we'll tell you this, but I believe it was when he was roughly 13 years old. They had a computer system that he could talk through, and he communicated to his dad that he wanted to run. His dad was not a runner at all, and so his dad decided, okay, I'm going to rig up a stroller/bike system that I can strap Rick into, and we're going to run because you want to run. That's the little me thing. Dick was not a runner and really didn't have any aspirations to be a runner, but his son wanted to run. And so his team was calling on him to help him, and Dick dove in. And it led to Ironman Triathlon. An unbelievable story. I'm just going to show you this video real fast. And if we want to talk about, again, the little me concept, this is the absolute best way to portray it. So I think there's nothing that better explains big team, little me than what you just saw there and what you just witnessed. Again, those two individuals need each other to be able to compete. And I think what, again, is so cool about their relationship and how it correlates to a sports team is that you have to have one another to be able to be successful. I have to have the guy next to me on the football field to be successful, to find success. And so that little me concept comes into play big time. If my teammate is asking me to pull him in a raft out on the open waters, I'm going to do it for him. If my teammate is asking me to trek 3,700 miles across this country, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that with him. If my right guard is asking me as the center to block down on a 3 technique so that we can run trap back the other way, then I'm going to do that for him. If my offense is looking at me as the quarterback and looking at me intently to lead them down the field for a winning touchdown, I'm going to do everything in my power to do that for them. Together as a team, we will march down that field. Together as a team, we'll swarm to the football on the defensive side. Big team, little me. And so I will teach that every single day. And I hope that that video depicted that for you, what that little team looks like, okay, or sorry, little me looks like. I want to get into just a little bit of football as well, and talk to you about the type of skills that we're going to be teaching your sons on the field. We're going to be teaching them high school ready skills. Skills that they're going to need when they enter high school, skills that are going to give them an advantage when they enter high school. These skills, again, I taught and coached football here for 14 years. And so I know what high school ready football skills look like, and that is my focus. My focus is to prepare them to play at the next level. And so I want you to hear that loud and clear. I'm not just a dad that's out coaching football because they needed a coach. I am a dad, but I am a football coach, and I'm ready to teach them those high school ready skills. So let's talk our football just a little bit and some things that I'd like to do this summer. And these are all non-mandatory, so voluntary activities that I would love for our team to get involved in. Some sort of running program. And I talked to Matt Simmons. I coached with him last year, and I actually just talked to him today. Matt Simmons played football for the University of New Mexico and is very skilled in running speed camps and speed training. And so I talked with him. He's going to be coaching at the Pee Wee level this year and wanted to get our teams together and maybe have some sort of running program that he could run for us. And he is very willing to do that. We also, a few of you in this room went and saw J.R. Redmond last year, and that might be another opportunity. I did reach out to him as well to see what he might have in store for us. 7-on-7, I would like to do this 3 to 4 times during the summer. And again, I talked with Matt Simmons about that as well, and maybe combining his team with my team so that we do have somebody to compete against this summer. But running some 7-on-7 so that when we show up day 1 in August, our passing game is kind of already put into motion. And we're ready to maybe start really working on fine-tuning some things at the beginning of the year rather than just doing install for the first 2 to 3 weeks. I also have a good friend, Tyler Brayton, who is a leader with my Fellowship of Christian Athletes at Arapahoe. Tyler played defensive end for CU, and then he played in the NFL for 10 years. He played for Indianapolis, played for the Raiders. I know the Raiders, but he played in the NFL for the Raiders, and he also played with the Indianapolis Colts. I would like him to come in and lead us in an O-line, D-line camp. And whether it's 1 or 2 days for a couple hours, we'll find some time this summer that Tyler can come in and do that. I believe that the most neglected position in youth football is O-line, D-line. I believe most coaches don't know how to coach it, and so they just leave it alone. And they try to make it as simple as possible and leave some things out. And so I want to make sure that we're using proper technique, that when they go to high school, that technique's in place for them. And so I think this would be a great opportunity to bring him in. And I want everybody to do this on our team. Not, if you're designated as a running back, you're designated as a wide receiver or quarterback, I want everybody to go through these O-line, D-line skills. So we'll find some time this summer to bring Tyler in, and maybe even we can get him to come in a couple times during the season as well. He lives right here in Littleton. So season schedule, I want to kind of go through that with you just a little bit. So that's kind of what our summer looks like, some running, some 7-on-7, that O-line, D-line camp, that's kind of what I'm looking for forward to. I know we're all busy with basketball and baseball during the summertime, but I want to try to make some time for that. And again, it's all going to be voluntary. I understand people go on vacation, that sort of thing, but I think it will be great if we can get our team together prior to the season beginning. So we do practice during the season on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and these can flip. These Tuesday and Wednesday days can flip, but I like to do offense one day, defense another day. I do want you to know we will work special teams every single day. It is 1/3 of the football game, and we need to make sure that we're working it. And so we will work that every single day. As you get older in Pop Warner, in youth football in general, special teams are going to begin to get better. And so we got to make sure that we're utilizing those special teams just like we're going to utilize our offense, just like we're utilizing our defense on the football field. Thursdays will be a combo day, OD, and all special teams. I know there are some coaches out there that dress down on Thursdays, wear shorts, maybe shorts and a helmet. My deal is we're youth football players, and we need all the practice we can get. We'll be in full pads every day. And on that Thursday, we'll definitely reduce the amount of hitting that we do, but we'll be in full pads every single day. I feel that it's almost impossible to work all of my special teams on Thursday, put them all together, if I don't have pads on. And so we'll do that every single day. We will never dress down ever unless we added a walkthrough on a Friday or a Saturday morning. During practice, I just do want to point this out to you that our practices are scripted and they are detailed from start to finish. And I just want to flip through just a couple of these from our last season for you so that you can see kind of what practices look like. And that we will have individual time, we will have group time, and we'll have team time. I see this way too much in youth football that teams just go out and all they do is they line up on offense and they just run a bunch of teams. They just run a bunch of plays. And so, by the end of practice, you've run 50 plays. You really haven't accomplished much teaching. Maybe you've taught them how to run power, you've taught them how to run counter, but when did you work on the technique? When did you work on putting it together with just the O-line? When did you work on handoffs just with your quarterback and your running back? So individual time is very important to me, and we're going to make sure that we have a coaching staff that's ready for individual time every single day, that's ready for group time every single day, and then we'll bring it together at the end of practice and make sure that at the end of practice we are running that team time. Okay, that's extremely important to me. To make sure that every day is organized and that we have a purpose for why we're doing what we're doing. So that practice script will be in place every single day so that we don't forget, again, to run that individual group time as well. Special teams every single day, like I talked about. And I also want you to know that we will teach form tackling. Last year, again, we follow the USA heads-up football protocol. But we will make sure that every single day in August that we practice, we are working form tackling, and then we'll bring it back from time to time in September and October. It's extremely important to me. And last year, we brought about the Seattle Seahawks way of tackling, and I just love it. Arapahoe High School is tackling that way now, but the thing that's cool about the way the Seattle Seahawks tackle is, and I know we're not necessarily Seattle Seahawks fans in here, but the way they tackle is very, very good. It takes the head out of the tackle. And so when you watch them tackle, and you'll probably be able to watch them for 2 more games this season, when you watch them tackle, they take their head out. Their head ends up on the near hip. It doesn't end up across the body. It ends up on the near hip, and they teach them to drive 4-5. Okay, these players that have played for me before, they know that. Drive 4-5. And we can practice this without any pads on. That's how much it takes the head out. So if you watch rugby players and how rugby players have tackled over the years, that's how the Seattle Seahawks teach their football players to tackle. Obviously, it works for them. They are very, very good tacklers. There's hardly any yards after catches, yards after contact for opposing teams that play the Seattle Seahawks. So we're going to teach that. Friday nights, select Friday nights, I like to do what I call cookie nights. This also comes from my head coach in high school who brought this about. And during that cookie night time, we'll watch film. And as they get closer to high school, it's really important that they learn how to watch film, that they're not just a spectator of the game, and they're not watching for all the funny things that happen. And we'll rewind and take a look at those things too, but that they're watching film with intent, that they're watching film to learn from it. They're watching film to learn the position that they're playing. And so sometimes it drives them crazy because I'll run one play back 25 times, but I think that's important. We need to learn how to watch film because they're going to be expected to do that when they get to the high school level. And if they did move on and play in college, they're going to be having to do that a lot at that point in time as well. We use cookie nights as a team meeting time as well. And then, of course, yes, we're going to have some cookies at the end. And it's just some great team bonding time. We've done it in my basement for the last 3 years, and it's been a wonderful time for our team to reflect on the week, to prepare for the game the next day, and to, again, learn how to watch film with intent, not just as a spectator. So that's what our season schedule looks like. I want to spend just a little bit of time talking about our offense, and I know this will get a little bit technical, but that's okay. For those of you that have questions, feel free to ask me those questions at any time. So in our running game, I want to be in the pistol as much as possible. Again, that gets us away from center. And so what I've seen in the past few years is that a lot of teams just like to pin their ears back and run up the field on the defensive side. And so this gets us away from center just a little bit. In the running game, we'll run power, counter, sweep. We'll run a couple of different read looks, both out of power and out of counter. And then our flop thunder look is our unbalanced look. And I love being unbalanced. I love shifting to unbalanced. I don't think teams do a good job of coaching their kids up on how to shift on the defensive side when we shift. And so we'll do that quite a bit just to put ourselves in the best possible position to either run the football or run boot. The H, I want to talk about that just real fast in our offense. That's my slot receiver and my fullback. It'll be our most versatile player that plays that position. It's a tough position to play. This year I had an H that ended up having to play quarterback for us because our quarterback got injured. Quarterback broke his arm. The H had to move to quarterback, and I had to take another player and teach them H during the football game, and he saw how difficult that position was. I think I burned all my timeouts within 5 minutes helping him out and teaching him as the game progressed. H is our most versatile position. He has to be able to catch footballs. He has to be able to block and occasionally carry the football as well. And so I just wanted to let you in on that just a little bit. Our passing game, I do have a quick read series that I pulled from LSU. Actually, this is maybe 7 years ago now. I was at a coaching clinic listening to an LSU coach and just loved it, and we've run it at Arapahoe for years. We'll also have a quick stick series as well, and that consists of a backside curl, backside hook, and 2 out routes and on the opposite side. And I'll teach those concepts as well, how we're creating triangles in all of our quick passing games to try to get us in the best position to catch football. Now, if all we ever see is man coverage, both of those looks have man adjustments as well, and so we'll have those man adjustments in place. I love running boot, especially if you're running the rock a little bit. You can run boot, and it can be a very successful play for you. I have variations of boot also that allow us to get downtown off of that play fake. Y, F, and H screens. In addition, we can bring an X and a Z screen. X and a Z screen back into the middle, kind of a bubble screen, more or less what you saw on Sunday with the Broncos when Demaryius Thomas dropped a couple of those. And then just basic play action pass in the pocket as well. We'll be able to do that. And then we'll also have a sprint look as well. And so when I talk about quick, that's our three-step drop game, and then our sprint game I didn't put up here in this list, but we'll have a sprint out game as well to get us out of the pocket a little bit. I will put together a scouting report every single week, whether I get film from the team that we're playing or whether I have to go film that ourselves. We'll have a plan for that week, and our kids will know what that plan is at the beginning of the week. We'll ask them to study that plan. We will work that plan every single day. It's extremely important to me to show them what a good scouting report looks like. They're going to obviously have to read scouting reports and use scouting reports when they're in high school, and especially if they move on to college, those will get even more detailed. On the defensive side, I want to be a base 4-2-5 team, and so I know that for some of you that know football, that looks like an even front defense, but most of the time teams are going to play with a tight end. And so that'll only be an even front when a team has 4 wide. When a team only has 3 wide and playing with a tight end, we will be in an odd front. And so that's really what I want to play is a 5-2. But having our base be that 4-2-5, that gives us the opportunity to check very easily into that 4 wide look or look against that 4 wide offense. It's a gap defense. It's a lateral defense. We will never pin our ears back and go running up the field. The only time we do that is when we know that it is pass, and we are pass rushing. So it's not a vertical defense. Teaching kids to play good gap football will be beneficial to them in every single year that they ever put pads on. It's teaching them good technique. It's teaching them that their job is to do this for the other 11 players, the other 10 players on that field. If they're playing in a 3 technique on defense, that B gap is their gap. It's nobody else's gap. They have to control the B gap. So that little me concept comes into play big time in this defense. And we got very good at gap control this last season on our football team. Players will be taught discipline technique and terminology that will carry to high school and college. I just mentioned a 3 technique. I'll just use that as my example. A 3 technique on our team is going to be the same 3 technique that they see in high school and the same 3 technique that they see in college. It is also the same 3 technique that the Denver Broncos use on a Sunday. It doesn't change. So we're going to teach them that very basic terminology that they're going to use the rest of their lives that they play football. And maybe the rest of their lives that they go in and coach football later on. We will have a 6-2 check that we call special. Sometimes we'll play teams that are very run heavy, play with double tights, play in a single wing look. If you ever seen the single wing, it's a really inventive offense that direct snaps the football to 2 guys in the backfield, and it basically looks like a rugby scrum. They can run some misdirection off that as well, but we'll have a 6-2 check as well that we'll go to. And again, we'll run that predominantly against those single wing teams or teams that are in double tights a lot, unbalanced, and want to really run the football at us. I want to teach zone. I've taught zone the last 3 years in coaching youth football, and it works out pretty well for us. So we'll teach cover 3 this year. We're going to add cover 2, and then we'll have man to go back on as well. The reason I like to run zone because it gives us the most run support. Now, when you're running zone, your secondary is looking into the backfield, and they can come up on run support. When you're only running man coverage, you got your back turned to the ball carrier at all times. Again, sometimes you got to run man coverage to get pressure, and that's fine. We'll do that. But at the same time, I want to be predominantly a zone team, playing man when we want to, not when we have to. So that's the defensive side. I do want to throw this out there as well for our moms. My wife has wanted to do this for years, and we didn't get to do it last year because she had hip surgery. But we want to run a football 101 for all the moms on our team. She'll put together appetizers and drinks, and we'll have you guys over to our house, and I'll put on like a 30-minute to 45-minute football 101 for you guys, so that when you're watching football this year, you can kind of know what we're doing out there on the field. It's not just watching your son, number 5, run around and saying, okay, there goes number 5. That way I know why they're doing that, because they're running power and he's trying to block that DN. And so I'll kind of talk you through some of that stuff. I think it'll be a fun time just to learn a little football. And so we're going to do that towards the beginning of the season in August for all the moms that are out there. So I just want to spend just a couple minutes to wrap up here on why Pop Warner. I think this is an important thing to talk about tonight. You know, why do I have my son play Pop Warner? Why do I coach Pop Warner? Why am I not involved in AYL? So number one, players play according to age and weight, and it's according to the weight matrix that's posted on popwarner.com. I've shared that with you guys so you kind of have an understanding of what it looks like at the junior midget level. But I think it's a safer game because we play with kids that are of life size. We are not ever going to be playing against kids that are 60 pounds away from us, like you may see in AYL. We don't have patch players. Our patch players don't exist in Pop Warner. Any player can play any position, and that is really because of that weight matrix that allows us to do that. We compete at a national level. Our region includes Oklahoma and Texas. And if we qualify for regionals, we play for the opportunity to travel to the Pop Warner Super Bowl in Orlando. And there were 2 Colorado teams at the Pee Wee level, and that was the level I coached at last year. 2 Colorado teams, the War Dogs from Colorado Springs, the Outlaws from Fort Collins, that traveled to the Pop Warner Super Bowl. In fact, the War Dogs made it all the way to the final game and lost to a team from Chicago in the final game. That's my understanding anyway. But we get to compete at a national level, and that's something you don't get to do in AYL, okay, in our local football programs. If you want more information about Pop Warner, go to popwarner.com, and you can check out, and more specifically, from popwarner.com, you can go to Rocky Mountain Pop Warner and get more information about our particular Pop Warner organization here. Registration for this team opens in March. Now, I want to give you just a little bit of background on what we're looking for and what our ideal numbers are. So ideally, we'd like to have 22 players. We want to carry, though, a minimum of 20 players. I don't want to go below that. I want a minimum of 20 players on this football team. Ideally, I'd have 22 players so that we have 11 on 11 at practice. That's extremely important to be able to do that. I've gone the last couple of years and really haven't been able to do that at practice. I've had to put together some really creative ways of getting stuff done in practice. And so I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that we have those players in place. That way, when we do take on some injuries during the season, we have plenty of players to slide into those slots. We could possibly be asking you guys to recruit some players for us to get to our minimum number. Again, when we recruit players, we're looking for experienced football players. I really need kids at the junior midget level that have played football before. It's really important. So experienced football players, and most importantly, we have a large abundance of 8th graders on our team, older lighters on our team. We need 7th graders. Again, 7th graders who will be 12 years old next year can play all the way up to 145 pounds. And so we're looking for these larger 7th graders that can come in and help us, especially up front next year. If all you have are 8th graders, we're going to be small up front. And so we need to find some 7th graders. And so that means they're in 7th grade in the fall of 2015. So this year they are current 6th graders. And so I'll be communicating with you guys and asking for those players, asking for you to give me some names so that I can reach out to them and communicate. We do have 12 football players that should be moving up from Dennis Barrage's Pee Wee team. I know you don't see them here tonight, but I'm in communication with them, and hopefully we can get a good portion of them to play for us next season. I know there are 4 or 5 of them that have communicated with me already that they will not be playing, and so the additional ones I will be reaching out to and trying to get to play on our football team. So in addition to that, again, I'll be asking you guys to help us recruit, hopefully only about 4 or 5 players once this all shakes down and we see where we're at the end. Okay. It was great to meet you guys this evening, to talk with you a little bit. I'm available at all times. You guys have my cell phone number. I've sent that out to you. Please call me with any questions that you have. And we're going to stick around here and answer any of your questions for you tonight as well. Again, Brad Benson can answer a lot of questions in why he has moved his son from AYL to Pop Warner football. So if you have questions about that, he'd be happy to answer those questions for you as well. I thank you guys for coming tonight. It's great to meet all of you, and I look forward to a great 2015 season.